dhari Jaya Gopi Jana Balava Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Balava Girivardhari Balava Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Joy Nityananda Prabhu oh, Pahimam oh, Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Adonitai, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Shivashadi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama, Rama Rama, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go. Oh, Rama. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Go Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, Go Haribo. Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Go Pramanande! Jai Nityalila Viṣahyeṇa Sambhāṣito Samari Raja Guitarist Shishmat Divine A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya, BPT founder Acharya, Vrindavan Dham Krishna Balaram Mandir founder Acharya's Divine Grace Savior of the whole world Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Viṣahyeṇa Samari Raja Guitarist Shishmat Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories assembled Brijbasis. All glories assembled Brijbasis. All glorious assembled Brijvasis. All glorious lotus feet of Shisha Guru and Sri Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Today is Friday, 26 January 2024. Canto 10, chapter 51, verses 34 through 43. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Prayashobhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Shrinvatam Shakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsata. So, here we are. We have a lot of verses to go through today because the purports come in a little bit. Continuing with this amazing pastime of the deliverance of Muchikunda. How many devotees like this pastime? Isn't this one of the most amazing pastimes from Bhagavatam ever? Yes. Just imagine the good fortune of King Muchikunda. He just wanted to sleep, right? He just wanted to sleep. Somebody kicked him out of his sleep. He burned him to ashes, and all of a sudden, there's a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh my God. What if that was us? Can you imagine that? It will be. Just wait. We're on the path. We're not far away. It's up to us. Okay. What is it? 34, I think we start with, yeah. 34. Shri Muchikunda Uvacha. Who's he talking to? He's talking to Krishna, who he just saw after burning Kalayavana to ashes. Okay, okay. Oh, 34. Okay, so I'll just read the English up to there. Or should I do the... You can do English. Okay. So he says, the man who woke me was burned to ashes by the reaction of his sins. Just then I saw you, possessing a glorious appearance and the power to chastise your enemies. And he should know he's a big kshatriya.
Different translation there. Which one you want?
34. 34. Oh, sorry, that was 33. It was leading up to this. Okay. Says, my whole life I've been trying to, it's not possible. He says, your unbearably brilliant effulgence overwhelms your strength. And thus we cannot fix our gaze upon you, O exalted one. You are to be honored by all embodied beings. Shukadeva Goswami continued, thus addressed by the king, Supreme Personality of Godhead, origin of all creation, smiled, and then replied to him in a voice as deep as the rumbling of clouds. The Supreme Lord said, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, my dear friend, I have taken thousands of births, lived thousands of lives, and I've accepted thousands of names. In fact, my births, activities, and names are limitless. And thus, even I cannot count them. After many lifetimes, someone might count the dust particles on the earth. But no one can ever finish counting my qualities, activities, names, and births. O king, the greatest sages enumerate my births and activities, which take place throughout the 3 phases of time, but never do they reach the end of them. Nonetheless, O friend, I will tell you about my current birth, name, and activities. It must be a special soul, Muchukunda. Krishna is speaking to him like this, right? He says, kindly hear. Some time ago, Lord Brahma requested me to protect religious principles and to destroy the demons who were burdening the earth. Thus, I descended in the Yadu dynasty in the home of an Anakadundubi. Who's that? Vasudeva. Indeed, because I am the son of Vasudeva, people call me Vasudeva. I have killed Kalanemi, reborn as Kamsa. Anybody know who killed Kalameni? Was that Krishna? I thought that was Ekadasi who appeared. I think it was Ekadasi. Appeared from Lord Vishnu's body and killed Kalameni. Reborn as Kamsa as well as Pralamba. You remember Pralamba? Who was Pralamba? Yeah, who was he killed by? By Balaram. How did that happen? They were playing games. What were they playing? Hide and seek or something? Some game, and the losers had to go on the shoulders of the others. So Balaram's team lost, and he was on the shoulders of Pralamba.
They won.
Oh, they won. So right. So Balaram was on his shoulders. And so what did Pralamba do? He carried Balaram to a faraway place. Because he thought Krishna is the most powerful. I'll kill Balaram, then we'll take care of Krishna. And what happened? Did he kill Balaram? No. How many punches did Balaram give him before he died? One punch. Oh my God. O king, this barbarian has been burnt to ashes. And now, O king, this barbarian, Kalyavani, has been burnt to ashes by your piercing glance. Since in the past you repeatedly prayed to me, I have personally come to this cave to show you mercy, for I am affectionately inclined toward my devotees. Purport. It is apparent from this verse that Muchukunda was a devotee of the Supreme Lord. He had prayed for the Lord's association, and now Shri Krishna granted his fervent request. So we're going to go to the verse for today. That purport is a little bit short. So now Krishna says, now choose some benedictions from me. O saintly king, I will fulfill all your desires. One who has satisfied me need never again lament. One who has satisfied me need never again lament. Purport. By His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai. Oh, disciples. Wow, okay. Yeah, right. So, purport. The acharyas explain that we lament when we feel incomplete, when we have lost something, or when we fail to achieve something desirable. One who has satisfied Krishna and thus attained the Lord's mercy will never be troubled in these ways. Lord Krishna is a reservoir of all pleasure, and he enjoys sharing his spiritual bliss with all living beings. We need only cooperate with the Supreme Lord. That's the key word here. Cooperate. Whew. It's pretty tough for some of us, speaking for myself. Prabhupada called it was it unwilling, this unwillingness to surrender. He had a name for it. Causeless unwillingness to surrender to Krishna. Causeless unwillingness. Okay, so now the verse today, sorry. Shri Shukuvacha. I'm sorry, yeah, 43, okay. Varan, Vinishva, Rajarshe, Sarvam, kaman dadami te mam prasano janaha kaschin na bhuyo rahati sochitum varam vrinishvarajarshe sarvam kamam dadami te mam prasano janakaschin nabhuyorti let's go nabhuyorti sochitum varam vrinishvarajarshe sarvan kaman dadadite mam prasano janakaschin nabhuyorti sochitum. Please chant. Varjam vrinishvarajarshe sarvan kaman dadamite nabhuyorti sochitum vrinishvarajarshe dadamite mam prasano janakaschin nabhuyorti sochitum varam vrinishvarajarshe sarvan kaman dadamite mam prasano janakaschin nabhuyorti sochitum varjan vrinishvarajarshe varam vrinishvarajarshe sarvam kaman dadamite mam prasano janakaschin nabhuyorti. Mataji's varam vrinishvarajarshe sarvam kaman dadamite mam prasano janakaschin nabhuyorti sochitum. Word for word. Varan, benedictions. Vrinishva, just choose. Rajarishe, O saintly king. Sarvan, all. Kaman, desirable things. Dadami, I give. Te, unto you. Mam, me. Prasanna, having satisfied. Jana, person. Kaschit, any. Na, bhuya, never again. Arhati, needs. Sochitam, sochitum, to lament. Translation. Now choose some benedictions from me, O saintly king. I will fulfill all your desires. When it was satisfied me, never need again lament. And we already read the purport. Should I read it again? Okay. It was all about cooperation and pleasing Krishna so that we need never lament again. So thank you so much for allowing me to give Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning, although I'm 100% completely unqualified. Many people, I live in New Vrindavan, I give many tours of the palace. People all the time come to me and say, wow, you're a Prabhupada disciple? You're so fortunate. And then I tell them, I say, yes, I've become incredibly fortunate to get initiated directly by someone like Srila Prabhupada. Now, I have to become qualified for that honor. And that's a day by day, year by year, moment by moment process. And there's a lot to do in this very short lifetime less. So we all better get really busy, especially myself. So this pastime of Krishna is nicely instructive in so many ways. First of all, Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has numerous potencies which all act in many wonderful and inconceivable ways. But and Prabhupada says that this is, the demarcation point between devotees and non-devotees. As devotees, it means we have to accept that God has inconceivable potencies. We're chanting Hare Krishna every day, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is fully present in his name in all six opulence, all beauty, all knowledge, all wealth, all strength, all fame, all renunciation. How many of us have realized this? I'm not even close. Atashi Krishna namadi nabavid graimin re seva mukhe jivado slaime vishwarayuda. In fact, nobody can understand it because it's a chintya. Someone could argue and say, you're chanting the name of God? You think you're going to get God? Like, with that logic, if I was thirsty, I can go in a room, chant water, 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 water. Well, it's not happening. I'm not quenching my thirst. What's up? Well, this happens to be the material world we're in, also called the relative world. And there's a difference between the name and the object. But Krishna, he lives in the spiritual world. You think he's subject to the rules of this mundane world? No. And he can do anything he likes. And what he likes is to... Lord Chaitanya came 500 years ago, giving what no other incarnation of God ever gave before in the history of this planet. And he empowered his names with his own personal potency. This never ever happened before. Brahmins in previous ages, what kind of potency did they have? They could call the demigods down. Sometimes Narayan would come. They were Brahmins. They were born in Brahmins' families. They spent how many lifetimes as Brahmins? Lord Chaitanya's come. What does that mean? He's a mercy incarnation of Krishna. He's giving the highest level of love of God to the most insignificant and unqualified. When was the last time that happened? How often does Lord Chaitanya come? Once in a day of Brahman. That's something like 4,300,000,000 years. That's how often he comes. And he came 500 years ago? Oh my God. That's like somebody's at home. You're working at the desk or you're, washing dishes or something, and you're just going on, you're chanting Hare Krishna. All of a sudden you see this golden flash go by the window. You're like, oh my God, was that Lord Chaitanya? That's practically the situation we're in. What's 500 years into 4,300,000,000? This event, and this I've realized after time, I have one of the best services on the planet because they give tours of Prabhupada's palace. And every day I talk about Srila Prabhupada, how he came from the West, to the West, from India. It's inconceivable how he accomplished what he did. And I never realized it before. And I still don't realize it. Every time I give a tour, I realize it a little bit deeper. Now this event, people think, Prabhupada, he came to the West. First of all, that never happened before. Not only did it not happen, nobody even dreamed about coming to the West. What's the tradition in India? It was always like taboo, right? To cross the ocean to the land of the Malechas. Prabhupada did it. And what did he bring with us? With him? He had no money. No friends. He had a sponsor in America, but never met him before. His friends and family gave him zero support. He went to Vrindavan for a couple of years. It was interesting because Prabhupada's astrological chart said he should be another Birla. What happened? Just before he retired, his business totally tanked, practically failed. He had almost no money. What was left, he had to pretty much give to his family. Astrology is accurate, right? What it says in the stars, that should happen. What happened to Prabhupada? Well, it says that if the stars favor you, you can get incredible opulence, incredible fame, beautiful wife, family, all kind of things. But if Krishna loves you, he'll take everything away. And Krishna really loved Prabhupada. He took everything away. Did it faze Prabhupada? He went to Vrindavan, he prayed for guidance, for spiritual strength. And of course, as we know, he translated first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, had a couple trunks of books, no money, no friends in America. How was he going to get to America? No money. Well, Srimati Maharaji, a friend of his, had promised, she has a shipping company, promised him free passage. So, 1965, this elderly Bengali sadhu, alone, boards the ship. Nobody even came to see him off, right? It was maybe one of his sons and a friend or something like that. Even she tried to talk him out of it. She cared about him. She was his friend. She said, Swamiji, she said, you're my friend. I promised you free passage to America. But get real. She didn't say that, but something like that. She said, you don't have any money. You're going to America. You have no friends. Your health isn't good. You want to start a spiritual movement? Please don't go. She cared about him. Probably boarded the ship. Took him over a month to cross the Atlantic. Halfway through, he gets 2 heart attacks. 70 years old. I tell people, he had his birthday on the boat. And to celebrate his birthday, Krishna gave him 2 heart attacks. He almost didn't survive. He wrote in his diary, didn't he? That if there was a 3rd heart attack, he would sure be lights out. And then he had this incredible dream or vision, whatever, of all the incarnations of Krishna on the boat, guiding Prabhupada. It says after that dream, the Atlantic Ocean, which is so rough the whole way, probably seasick the whole way. The captain spent his whole life crossing the ocean. It became like glass, hardly even any wave. The captain was, who is this person? And Prabhupada came to America. Of course, he did spend a month with his host family, but he thought, no, this isn't going to work. He sold a few books, had a little bit of money. He said, if I'm going to really try to fulfill the desire of my spiritual master, I'm going to have to go into the heart of the beast. So alone, from that very comfortable situation, you know, in Pennsylvania, at a yoga teacher's house and very nice relations and everything, he went alone to New York City in the Bowery. He got a rental place. He had to step over 2 or 3 drunks just to get in his place. And he threw up his arms. He said, Krishna, why have you brought me here? How is it possible? You can imagine somebody with Prabhupada's background, observing American culture. He threw up his arms. He said, Krishna, why have you brought me here? How's it possible? These materialistic American people in this hedonistic, meat-eating culture can understand any of your teaching. He thought maybe it's useless, hopeless. What would he do? Every week he'd go to New York Harbor, check the list of boats going back to India. He wrote his godbrothers. He said, I'm in America, send money, send friends. How many letters did he receive back? Maybe just one saying, sorry, Charlie. Yeah, we're not into it. Disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Look what Prabhupada's doing. And nobody wants to give him any help. Krishna was saving it for us. We didn't know it, but he was saving it for all of us, really, because Prabhupada never left. He's more present now in his Vani than he was even in his Vapu. And so Prabhupada had no idea what was going to happen, but then Krishna started indicating that there was that famous pastime in the park. I think it was another Indian man that felt kind of sorry for Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, no, you don't understand. There's thousands of devotees. There's hundreds of temples. There's only time separating it. And Prabhupada just started giving classes Krishna sent. They were plants. You think Krishna comes himself. Does Krishna come alone? No, he brings the whole spiritual world with him. You think someone like Prabhupada comes to the West, Krishna doesn't send any assistants? Krishna sent so many wonderful assistants. And then within 2 years, Prabhupada has over 1,000 followers, 25 temples in the United States, Canada, and Europe. No money, no friends, no health. How's it possible? What are the odds, materialistically speaking? Zero. And that's called inconceivable. That's what we were just talking about. But it says when the ultimate and supreme, so Supreme Personality of God has numerous potencies. They act in many wonderful and inconceivable ways, both personally and through his pure devotees. But when the ultimate and supreme source of all those potencies and energies wills to do something, he acts in such a way that so many different purposes are fulfilled, and he leaves everyone standing with their mouth open, even the greatest sages and demigods who have no idea what Krishna does when he does something. But for the devotees, this bewilderment is the greatest source of ecstatic pleasure, because they see just how unlimited my Lord is. He can do anything. Srila Prabhupada talks about how when we are determined, then with the person with the best determination, there may be so many impediments. We very likely can't achieve what we set out to be determined to. But when Krishna makes a determination, Prabhupada says, his just act of determination is actual fact. What's he called? Achyuta. And so Prabhupada tells this wonderful story of the Brahmin and the cobbler, right? Narada Muni's walking down the path. He sees a Brahmin. And the Brahmin says, "Oh, Narada Muni, where are you going?" He says, "Oh, I'm going to see my Lord in Vaikuntha." He said, "Oh, when you go, please ask him when I'll become liberated." Narada Muni says, "Of course, I'll ask." Then he went and met a cobbler. And the cobbler said, "Narada Muni, where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to Vaikuntha to visit my Lord." He said, "Oh, when you go, please tell him when I might be liberated from the material world." Narada Muni says, "Sure, of course." Narada Muni went, saw Narayan, and had wonderful pastimes visiting with him. And before he left, he said, "I met a Brahmin on my way here. And he wanted to know when," very nice, learned Brahmin, he wants to know when he'd be liberated from this world. Lord Narayan says, "Tell him he will only be liberated after many, many years." And Narada Muni was okay, so then Narada Muni told him, "Then I met a cobbler, and your devotee, and he was also asking, when he might be liberated from this material world." And Narayan told him, "Tell him, after this very life, he will come back into my association." And Narada Muni was a little bit bewildered, scratching his head. He said, "My dear sir," when Prabhupada talks about this, very nice, I tell you. Narada Muni says, "My dear sir, how's this possible? This learned Brahmin is going to take many, many lifetimes, and this cobbler is going back, after this lifetime?" And Narayan answered him in such a way, he said, "Well, when they asked you what I was doing, tell them I was threading an elephant through the eye of the needle." So Narada Muni came back. The Brahmin was there, and they had a nice exchange, and the Brahmin said, "So, when did my Lord Narayan say I'd be liberated from this world?" And Narayan said, "Well, he said that it would take many, many lifetimes. He said, really? He said, by the way, what was Narayan doing? He said, he was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. The Prabhupada said, what? An elephant through the eye of a needle? That's not possible. So many, many verses. Came to the cobbler and had a nice exchange. The cobbler said, by the way, what was my Lord doing in Narayan, doing in Vaikuntha? He said, Narada Muni said, he was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. Immediately the cobbler started crying. He said, my Lord is so great. He was putting an elephant through the eye of a needle. He can do anything. And Narada Muni was a little bewildered and said, well, how do you have this faith that he can do that? He said, sir, I've been sitting under this banyan tree for many, many years. And this huge banyan tree, within every one of the little fruits from the banyan trees, and there's hundreds or thousands of fruit in every fruit, there's, hundreds or thousands of seeds, and within each of those seeds is the potency of another banyan tree. If my Lord can do that, he can surely thread an elephant through the eye of the needle. Narada Muni says, very good, I understand. By the way, Narayan said you would be going back after this very life. So, it's this acceptance of Krishna's inconceivable potency which separates the devotees from all others. And that's where the rubber meets the road in our devotional service, more or less. That's when we start our whole material mindset and attitudes start to change. One of Krishna's names, it says, is Agata Agata. It's he who can make the impossible possible. Somebody asked Prabhupada once to say something about his spiritual master. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, my spiritual master? He said, what can I say? He saved me. Have any of you heard of that incredible 1936 Vyasa Puja offering that Prabhupada offered to his spiritual master? And how many people have heard that offering before? I mean, that is so incredible. Can I share some of Prabhupada's words with you from that? Prabhupada is addressing a meeting of members of the Rotary Club in Bombay in 1936. What year did Prabhupada take initiation? 33. So a few years after that. Prabhupada says, gentlemen, and we, personally, it's nice. I love to give class and things, and Prabhupada said we should be able to speak in our own words of philosophy, but personally, I really like just repeating Srila Prabhupada's words. Why? Yeah, and don't we chant that every morning? What is that verse? My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from the lotus lips of my spiritual master. Prabhupada says, this is actual words. Gentlemen, our knowledge is so poor, our senses are so imperfect, and our sources are so limited that it is not possible for us to have even the slightest knowledge of the absolute region without surrendering ourselves at the lotus feet of Sri Vyasadeva or his bona fide representative. Every moment we are being deceived by the knowledge of our direct perception. It is all the creation or concoction of the mind, which is always deceiving, changing, and flickering. We cannot know anything of the transcendental region by our limited, perverted method of observation and experiment. But all of us can lend our eager ears for the oral reception of the transcendental sound vibration from that region through this through the unadulterated medium of Sri Gurudev or Sri Vyasadeva. Therefore, gentlemen, we should surrender ourselves today at the feet of the representative of Srila Vyasadeva for the elimination of all of our differences bred by our unsubmissive attitude. Then listen to this. Have you all heard of something called dainya? Do you know what dainya means? It means extreme humility. Listen to this perfect example of extreme humility. Prabhupada says, personally, I have no hope for any direct service. In other words, any direct service of the divine couple. For the coming crores of births of the sojourn of my life. But I am confident that someday or other I shall be delivered from this mire of delusion in which I am at present so deeply sunk. And therefore, Prabhupada says, let me with all my earnestness pray at the lotus feet of my Divine Master to allow me to suffer the lot for which I am destined due to my past misdoings. But please, let me have this power of recollection. What is that? That I am nothing but a tiny servant of the Almighty Absolute Godhead, realized through the unflinching mercy of my Divine Master. Let me therefore bow down at his lotus feet with all the humility at my command. Is that incredible or what? Srila Prabhupada ki jai! So it's 8:52. Maybe we'll stop here. Anybody have any questions, comments? Why don't you go to Prabhu?
Thank you, Bhata Prabhu. If the chanting of the holy name is the essence of everything, then what's the need of, so much study and classes and deity worship and so many other things which are being performed? I mean, basically, only by the holy name, no restrictions in time, place, circumstance. We should just chant the holy name all the time and not do anything else.
That's right. There is no. My answer is that there is no need for anything else. Prabhupada says that himself. I just found it in numerous different places. I found it in the 5th canto somewhere. I should have written it down. Prabhupada said, if even if one doesn't, first of all, he says that I should have the exact reference. I mean, it's not that all these things aren't important. Like my dear friend Vaishesika Prabhu often would say, that we should be reading the books of Srila Prabhupada every single day. Why? Not for the knowledge. Knowledge is important, and we should learn the knowledge. We have to set an example. But we're reading Srila Prabhupada's books to get his personal association. What did Srila Prabhupada say about his purports, Shuddhakirti Prabhu?
His transcendental ecstasies.
That his purports were his transcendental ecstasies.
Prabhupada says the emotion of devotion. And as you were saying, he also said, he said to me, all these books, the purpose of all the books are to bring you to the point of chanting Hare Krishna. Uh-huh. The difficulty is we're not on that level to just sit 24 hours a day and chant Hare Krishna.
And very nice, thank you. And what dear friend of ours do we have here in Vrindavan who every single moment of the day tried to teach us that? Indra Prabhu. Shri Indra Prabhu ki jai! And the vibration, I dare say that the vibration of his chanting can still be felt here in New Vrindavan Dham. I had a dream after Sri Indra Prabhu left. I was living in Los Angeles, and I had met Indra before, but we weren't close at all. When I would come to Vrindavan and Mayapur with Guru Kripa's party, collecting in Japan, we helped, fund. We were collecting to build Mayapur and Vrindavan. We had the incredible benefit of being able to be here for the festivals when Prabhu was here. So, I lost my thought. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I had a dream, and it was just a few days after Indra Prabhu passed away. And I wasn't specifically thinking about him. I wasn't really at that time listening to his music at all. But it was kind of, it seemed like it was arranged, because a short time after that I actually came to Vrindavan, and Krishna in Panchagoda Prabhu's heart inspired him to ask me to come and help manage 24-hour kirtan. But I had this amazing dream, and I woke up, and my bed was all wet. I was perspiring. It was an intense dream. I had this dream that all the non-moving living entities in Vrindavan, all the trees, all the plants and creepers and everything, were crying, were like screaming in agony out of separation from Sri Indra Prabhu. He gave us so much, and continues to give us that through his incredible kirtan, which devotees are imbibing more and more, and teaching us to come to this spontaneous platform of devotional service. Because what's happening, and I tell people this all the time when I give them tours of the palace, because 95% of the Indians I give tour in the palace, they don't want to hear about anything except about the gold in the palace and all the opulence, this and that. And I lost my thought again. Yeah, that yeah, it's really, that's why I got to write everything down. Sometimes I just get so excited about what I'm talking about. The mind just loop. It's almost like I'm on the chariot of the mind. Okay, it's starting to come out to me. We are all traveling. Oh yeah. So I tell people that, people see us, these white Hindus. They say, it's kind of cute, they're chanting Hare Krishna. They're like white Hindus doing their things, And I stop them. In the back of the palace is a picture of the Changing Bodies exhibit. And I tell them that that may look like what we're doing, but what are we actually doing? We're actually entering into a relationship with our Creator. And many of these deep mysteries of our eternal soul gradually are becoming revealed to us. So we are, as we speak, I don't care if you joined yesterday, we are on the path of spontaneous devotional service. And as my good friend Mahabhuti Prabhu would often say, we have to know what the goal is, otherwise how we can attain that. And we chant every day in the morning with the 10 offenses against the holy name. It's an offense to chant Hare Krishna just as some habit without really realizing what we're doing. And so this is what we're doing. We're gradually, day by day, regaining our spiritual forms. And gradually our spiritual mind, and in the spiritual body, there's a mind, there's intelligence. Thanks God, because if all I had was this material mind, in my old age, I'd really be finished. So we start entering into this bhav and experiencing who we are as eternal souls more and more. So, did I answer the question so far? Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Comments? Prabhuji.
Don't give up your intense enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. Is very good. Thank you.
Thank you for encouraging me, Prabhu. I really appreciate it. I need all the encouragement I can get. We got questions back here. 3 people with questions. Thanks, Pajya. Yeah, you
Hare
know
Krishna.
why? Because I'm part and parcel of the Supreme Great. That's the only reason there's any greatness in.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,
Hare-
Dana Pranam.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, one key word in the purport of today's verse was cooperation, as you said.
Cooperate.
Yes. So I had a question connected to this word. Like we try to perform an advance in pure devotional service, and that entails surrendering completely. But since we are so small in comparison to the Supreme Lord, so if we surrender, we have basically nothing to give. So that is why we become quite indifferent to the idea of surrender. So how can someone overcome this idea of indifference?
Yeah, that is a great question. Excellent question. When I think of, first of all, Srila Prabhupada says that in my absence, your love for me will be tested by how you cooperate. I've been thinking about this like a lot. And I think it really comes down, it's so interesting. It's so interesting because, the essence of our philosophy is what? As given us by Lord Chaitanya. Achintya beta beta tattva. We are beta beta tattva. We are simultaneously one with Krishna, but at the same time different. How do we understand that? We can't. It's impossible. That's why the word achintya is used. We cannot understand it. That's where the association of devotees comes in. Aha. This is one of the big secrets of our advancement in devotional service. We learn how to associate with devotees. Why? Because it's not just this body of flesh and blood and this, attitude of the soul. We're dealing with Krishna personally. We have to realize that. It's a lot harder in the West than in India, I think. We were born with this concept of rugged individualism. And as I mentioned earlier, this, as Prabhupada says, causeless unwillingness to the surrender to the Supreme Lord. When the subject of cooperation comes up, I always remember this incredible pastime of the prachetas in the Bhagavatam. You know that pastime? Oh, it's such a wonderful story. Wonderful story also because when I read that, it gave me really some insights about Lord Shiva I didn't realize before. The prachetas were the sons of King Prachanabarhi. And he sent them, he said, for 10,000 years, you brothers, 5 brothers, must go and perform austerities because you have to become progenitors. And so you have to undergo austerity. So they were wandering across the earth. And they came to this celestial lake. And it spends 5, 6, 10 verses of Bhagavatam talking about this incredible celestial atmosphere with all these incredible celestial birds and bees and the whole atmosphere and different kinds of lotus flowers growing there. And as they were looking out of the lake, in the back of their mind thinking where they're going to go to perform austerities, thinking maybe that this might be a good place, all of a sudden they're looking at this really still lake in the middle of nowhere. All of a sudden there's these ripples on the lake. Just imagine, try to capture this mental picture of what's going on here. You're standing there with your brothers, looking at this atmosphere. All of a sudden there's some ripples in the lake. And they were like, oh my gosh, what's happening? All of a sudden at the other end of the lake, Lord Shiva comes out of the lake with his associates. And as they were looking at this across the lake, all of a sudden Lord Shiva turns around and starts walking towards them and taught them this incredible mantra that he said, you should learn this and you should chant it. This mantra is so powerful that it was given to us by Krishna in the beginning, and all the demigods, we all chanted it to become pure so we could also, become progenitors. And so then the prachetas, where'd they go? They went down to the bottom of the ocean. They learned how to breathe underwater. Prabhupada said it's an art. You can actually learn how to do that. And for 10,000 years, these 5 brothers spent meditating under the ocean. Can you imagine? You're down there for 10,000 years. You're meditating, all 5 brothers. And all of a sudden, when you least expect it, you look up, there's Lord Vishnu coming on the back of Garuda with 8 arms and all his weapons and things. And behind him, all these demigods are coming through the ocean on their carriers. And Vishnu comes right up to these 5 brothers at the bottom of the ocean performing these severe austerities. And the very first words out of Krishna's mouth were what? Anybody remember? Yes, I am very pleased with your attitude of cooperation between all your brothers. They've been meditating for 10,000 years. This is Vishnu himself coming. He came to offer them. How many things could he say? What were the first words out of his mouth? I really appreciate your friendly cooperation with each other. So that there's some importance to that. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful class. The question is, when we enter into the movement, we are very enthusiastic, attracted by prasadam, then kirtan and all. As we grow old, right? How to maintain that faith, coming from the cobbler story, going ahead, year on year, and maintain the attitude of service?
Very good question. You know, one of the ways it can, we can come back to association. It says we should always desire more advanced association. And we tend to, not take advantage of that maybe sometimes because, we're afraid maybe we'll get chastised or maybe we'll hear something or get some instruction that may be a little bit difficult for us to follow. Naturally we gravitate towards others, our peers. And, in Krishna consciousness also is we try to create a social environment so that we can, maintain ourselves through these very difficult times. But there's different aspects of Vaishnava etiquette which teach us how to associate with devotees. And one of these attitudes, these ways of dealing with devotees, Srila Rupa Goswami talks about them in his Upadeshamrita, is revealing one's mind in confidence. And this is very, very helpful. Also being very straightforward in our dealings. This honesty is a really, really incredibly important aspect of what we are doing. And the beginning of becoming free from our sinful reactions is being honest about them. There's something called denial. And some of these people who give like lectures in America, these people who are what do they call them? They're into, Yeah, well, different programs, motivational speakers. Thank you, and they say that. Sorry, my thought just went off a cliff. They say denial is not just a river in Egypt. You get it? Denial is not just a river in Egypt. So, and that's in my own psyche. I experience in my japa, there's a lot of kind of fear and, I feel like, we've all kind of inherited certain aspects of anarthas that, many of our ancestors couldn't deal with. And so they very kindly bequeathed them to us. And as we work through those, a very painful, difficult situation, in a lot of ways, honesty is a very important part of that. And then because it says what? Krishna in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavatam, 1st canto, he says, Krishna is the benefactor of the truthful devotee. Srinvatam Shrakata Krishna. He removes the obstacles to our path when he sees we're truthful. So we have to admit sometimes things that are difficult. And that's why devotees, for our sake of our progressive spiritual advancement, we try to always accept responsibility for things may not even be our fault. Anything else? Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.